Hello, hello, hello. So I have found another cassette tape, and it originated with the Toronto Pet Users Group when they were still located on Avenue Road in Toronto, Ontario. There was a move after a while that was ill-advised and silly, and it is a sad thing when the personalities get in the way of the purpose. Anyway, enough of that for the moment. Where did I put the, oh, there's the down set. Okay. So, if you recall, I was checking out this data set. The eject button still is wonky, but we can get the tape out. And here is the tape I was using, which is a 90-minute extravaganza. So really, it's too long. Now, what I have here is a tape from the Toronto Pet Users Group, and it was supposedly D4, but that was scratched out. Actually, you know, funny, when I look at this tape, it looks pretty long too. Because of course what we did way back when was we had monthly discs, but they were also available on tape. Not all programs were completely interchangeable, and really it was better on disc, but still, if all you had off in the middle of wherever you were was a tape drive, it was still a pretty good thing to get the tape. And as always, never just poke around and try and get something plugged in. Okay, I think I'm in. Alright, and of course right next to me here is the monitor that went through the flood. It's had some more time to sit here. It did have a definite waggle to it yesterday. And it still seems to have a bit of a waggle, but perhaps not as much. Certainly, though, there are funny colors at the top. Anyway, that is not why we are here. I'm just going to use this. Oh, that sounds pretty good. It sounds much smoother, this tape. For the moment, anyway. Perhaps I will rewind it. Now, do I know for sure if there's anything on this tape? No, I do not. Anyway, I'm going to press play, and we'll just see if it finds something. There might be. There might be, just because it's marked or crossed out as what it was, it doesn't mean it isn't something. It's funny, you know, the club was located on Avenue Road, 1912A Avenue Road, which was, there were many little offices in that building. That building is, of course, now long gone, which is too bad, but, you know, things move on. But there were many offices in there, and that was the nice thing. As the club expanded, there could be more little rooms added. There could be, and there were. There were indeed. But as I alluded to, the club eventually moved. Which was not a good thing. It really wasn't. It was more for the proximity to other people who were, oh, there were so many stories. So many stories. Anyway, so far this is, you know, tinkering along here. By the way, there was one person, of course it was Rudy, who wondered, could the head of the tape drive be dirty? And of course the answer is yes. Yes, it could. This is not seeming to be doing anything. So I am going to rewind. And stop. And, oh, you know, if I had the disk drive turned on and connected, no, oh, I know it's not plugged in, because I plugged in the monitor where the disk drive was plugged in. Alright, what does this cord goes to a power supply. Oh my golly. Alright, what does this cord go to? Also to a power supply. But they can't both be needed at this time. I think this is the one that goes to the 128 power supply. We'll see. Anyway, nothing went bad, so I'm assuming it's okay to plug in the 1541 that I have still been testing. And now, I wonder where that was supposed to connect. There's this little ground strap attached to the data set, and I don't know where it goes. Anyway, I'm sure there was somewhere it was suggested. I just don't know where it is. And of course, never ever just take a serial cable and jam it in without looking. Okay. Oh, is there something in there? Oh yeah, there's a blank disc. Okay. So, what we're going to do, rather than write a program, is we're going to load. And, you know what, I think, just because it's fairly short, we'll load one that's called check disk. And I ran this on this disk drive to check it. Oh boy. Why is everything so... Oh, that's better. It's... Oh, yeah, that's pretty. Actually, the more color I add, the more I see things waggling and waving. As I said, I think this really needs to be degaussed or degossed. Anyway, so here is a program called check disk. So we're going to save check disk. Now before I do that, I'm going to reset the counter. I'm going to fast forward to 5. And I'll reset to 0. That should get me off the leader, although I do believe that the 64 was pretty good about doing such things, just because it knew it should wait just in case there was a leader. So I'm going to say, to save, I'm going to, uh-oh, no I'm not. I see what has happened here. This tape, of course, because it was a TPUG tape, and of course one didn't want to get the TPUG tape ruined by accidentally writing to it. The right tab has been, see these little tabs on the top of the tape. If the tabs aren't there, you can't write. So I believe I have done something good here. We'll see. Let's try this again. Save check disk. Okay. So it's away. And it does seem to be spinning at a more constant rate. Perhaps because there's not so much tension on the tape. Now, is this going to work? I don't know. We'll see. I have not yet done anything to the head, but I can. And that would be the next thing. Typically when trying something out, I try and do one thing at a time to see what I can see and then move on from what the clues tell me. Okay, it says that it has saved it. There's the program. I will now rewind. Oh, it went all the way to 12. I'll rewind to about 4. Oops. And then I will new, so that the program is gone, and I will type in load. And I will press play. And we'll see. Oh, it's found check disk. But is it loading? That is the question. Load error. Let's do a little list. Oh yeah. Well, interesting. I'm going to rewind all the way. I'm going to reset the computer. And I will type load. I will press play. And chances are nothing will have changed. But we'll see. It has, oh, it won't do anything yet. It's got to get, it's up to number 3 on the counter. You know the original, and various models of the original. Goody. Tape drive had no counter. No counter. Load error. Well, it's a little different, but it's, you know, I mean the result is still the same. It's not working. But it's closer. So, what I think we're going to do is take this tape out. Oh. Let me rewind that a little more. Imagine that. This tape, it has no leader. And the way I know that is because I looked at it. But that is not surprising because I'm sure the, oh, let's go back to the story. Just a second. Oh, I'm going to get me some, oh dear, don't drop these. Don't drop these. There we go. Yeah. Rubbing alcohol and Q-tips. Okay, so way back when TPUG was happening, one of the tedious things, of course, and the slow things, and time-consuming things, was to copy tapes. Discs were not bad. Discs were pretty fast, pretty efficient. Back up D0 to D1 on a 4040, and away you go. Tapes, I should put the lid on that to avoid any troubles. Boy, that's hard to get into. Perhaps I will press play. And get, oh no. Penny, where are you? I hear you, Penny. Can you push the door, Penny? Yes, you can. Ah! Andrew, I am recording. So just give me a few minutes, then I'll be down. Okay, so that was not Penny. It was not. It was the trickery of Mr. Andrew. Okay, so I am cleaning the head on the tape drive. And how do I... And there could be some stuff. It's hard to see, even in this bright light. So anyway, I'm going to take the Q-tip and roll it upon the head. But everything else, you know, this tape drive actually looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to let that sit for a moment. And anyway, I will continue my story about tapes. So copying tapes was a time-consuming thing because it took, well, as long as it took to record. And as it happened on Avenue Road, there were a number of interesting businesses around there. One was called C&L Audio. They were right across the street, and I don't know why something like that would be on such a hoity-toity street, but it was. And after some negotiations and experiments, it was deemed worthy, because of course, big copy machines, they don't care what they're copying, they just want to copy them, that it was much more efficient to have the TPUG tapes produced by this outside company, C&L Audio, because they could do it really quick. They could also, as we know, supply tapes that did not have a leader on them, which would save somebody perhaps the trouble if you know, if there's too much leader, there's nothing on the leader that it can write to. Anyway, so C&L Audio was making the TPUG tapes. A master or two or three, or I'm not sure how many were given, and I never saw their setup, I never saw their equipment, but they were able to, at high speed, with great efficiency, and with great quality, make copies of the TPUG tapes. And it was good. It saved lots and lots of times, because otherwise it was basically, you know, set up a PEP, and then tell it to copy everything off to a tape, and leave it. And it would take a long time. If it took an hour to copy, or if the contents of the tape was an hour long, that's how long it took. Now, generally, that would not be the case. And, generally speaking, the tapes were double-sided, and I think it was figured out how much should be on each side so that the tapes were not humongously long, because, of course, we know humongously long tapes can be difficult for data sets. So, speaking of data sets, I'm going to put this in. I'm going to press. Oh, what's going on? Oh, wait. Without the 64 turned on, nothing will happen. I'm going to fast forward for a bit, and then let this do its thing. I will turn on this somewhat squirrely monitor. That seems to work. And maybe the waggle is diminishing some, but there's still a waggle to it. And the strange coloring. It's funny, you know, I had a thing that I could use to correct the colors on these things. It was called a super tweeter, and it was a little speaker that, you know, would get you those high-pitched sounds, and it had a great big magnet in it. So what you do is take it and kind of run it around the monitor, in smaller circles, get it right to the center, and then just pull it away. And it was good. So we have done that for a bit. You know what I think I will do? I'm going to press just to see where, you know, it doesn't really matter where we are on the tape. No, I'll rewind. I'm going to rewind. Meanwhile, I'm going to load check, which is the check disk program. And it is in. And I will list it. And the rewinding is coming right along. So once it gets down to nothing here, I will reset the counter to 0, which is almost there. It is there. I will stop. I will type save. Check. Oops. Disk. And then I will press record and play on tape. It's funny, on the pad it used to say tape 0, tape 1, because it had 2 ports. This it just says on tape, because of course there's only one. So, it is doing its thing. Is it working? I don't know. I just don't know, I just don't know. I would like to think it is, but we'll see. So we wait. Shouldn't take too long. It's not a long program. Unless, of course, something is going wrong. Okay, it supposedly has saved it. So we will rewind. We will press new. So the memory is empty. And we will press load. And we will press play. And then we'll see. Is it going to load it back in? Is it not? So, we have a different tape. The head has been cleansed. It has found it. This is where things typically go bad. Load error. Interesting. It looks like a lot of the program is there. I'm going to take this disk out. I'll type in run. No, syntax error into. What is to? Oh yeah, weird things, weird things. Okay, I'm going to put this on fast forward. And I'll keep exercising things, and I will keep pondering. Maybe the alcohol also, maybe it didn't get a chance to dry well. Now mind you, the next thing I should do is really take this tape drive and try it with a different Commodore 64. But that is another story. So, thanks for coming. We will meet again, I'm sure. Until that time, keep your stick on the ice and pray for peace. Bye for now.